When you're new to tarot, it can be very daunting to see all these tarot readers shuffle their cards, just drawing cards like they know exactly what card to get. And you're just sitting here figuring out how to even shuffle, not having any idea what card to draw from this deck. There are so many ways that you can shuffle and draw cards. There really is no right or wrong way. It all depends on what feels right for you and for your practice. Hi, I'm Ruby. I'm here to help improve your tarot practice through my tarot chats and deck reviews. In this video, I go over a couple of ways that you can shuffle and draw a card. Like I said, there are a ton of ways that you can do this, so I'm just going to show you a couple. You go ahead and try them out and see what works best for you. Let's start with shuffling. I think the easiest way to shuffle is just the overhand shuffle. Whenever we had family game night and we had a card game, we would also shuffle those cards overhand. So the way that I do this is I hold the deck in one hand. For me, it's my non-dominant hand. It's my left hand. I hold it like that. And then with my right hand, which is my dominant hand, I grab about half of the deck. And so we have two piles, and then I drop it. Sometimes I just drop it, and sometimes I take my thumb and I sort of scrape it off there. And that is how I overhand shuffle. So in one hand, grab half with my other hand, and then sort of grab it with my thumb. What I really like about the overhand shuffle is that sometimes a card would pop out, and that would give me the idea that this is a card that I need to draw for my reading. But we'll get into drawing your card later in the video. So yeah, that is your overhand shuffle. Go ahead, grab your deck and overhand shuffle with me, you know, just grabbing half of the deck and overhand shuffle like that. See, sometimes a card flips over like that and I'm like, is this card saying something? The next way to shuffle your cards is not for everybody, because some people don't like it when their cards bend. I'm going to show you top down. So what you do is you grab your deck, you divide it in two sections. Go ahead and do that first. Some people do it completely flat to the table. My hands don't really bend that way, so I do it a little sideways. And what I do is with my pointy fingers, I sort of bend the card like that, so that if I only lift up my thumb a little bit, then the cards will let go. And I do that sort of simultaneously with both of the hands. So this happens. And I will say, this was so hard for me to learn. And what really helped for me to learn this riffle shuffle is to practice with a deck that has very flexible cardstock. So this Might Hurt Tarot has pretty sturdy cardstock. It's still, as you can see, able to riffle shuffle. And then when you have this, you can also bend it the other way and have it like riffle. I don't really like that, especially with the sturdier cardstock, because I feel like it really stays in that bend. And then I do some overhand shuffle in between. And what I really like about this riffle shuffle is that you can very easily shuffle reversals in this way. So right now we have both of the stacks facing the same way. But then if I just turn one around, then these are all going to become reversals, and I'm going to shuffle them in. And there we go. I just push them back together. And then I do an overhand shuffle again. And we can do a riffle shuffle again, just a regular one. I like to mix it up a little bit and do a little bit of everything, then do some reversals in it again. And some of these reversals will be back to upright now. And I just do what feels right. And again, not everybody really likes a riffle shuffle, can bend your deck. And some people are just not about that, especially if you have an expensive indie deck. And the last one is one that I do when I get a brand new deck and I have to make sure that my entire deck is properly shuffled. Let's go top down again. So I have my deck, and what I do is I make piles, usually 3, sometimes I'll do 4, and I just have them like this, and I make my 3 piles. I don't always do it like this. I sometimes go like that, and I just make the 3 piles so that it's completely random what cards are in what piles. So let's finish this up. And then I grab each pile, which is now totally random and has cards from the major arcana plus all suits in them. And then I shuffle them. I always start with an overhand shuffle, and then I grab 2 piles of those and I riffle shuffle these together. Again, this is easier to do because the piles are smaller. And then I grab half of this and shuffle it with the other pile. And I do that a couple of times until I feel like, okay, let's put them together. Maybe one last riffle shuffle if I'm feeling up to it. And I'm like, yeah, this deck is sufficiently shuffled. I also really like to do the 3-pile shuffle if I haven't worked with the deck for a while, or if I'm feeling like resetting the energy of the deck. So I think it's just a really good way to really make sure the deck is well shuffled. Now we go on to drawing your card. And again, this is totally personal. I have heard of people doing it this first way, where they just shuffle the deck, they overhand shuffle, they riffle shuffle until they get a feeling, a tingling, and they're like, okay, I'm done, and I'm just gonna grab the top card and that is gonna be my card. Or they are like, okay, I'm shuffling, I get a feeling that I'm ready, and what I do is I grab the top half and I put it underneath, and then this card is my card. Personally, I usually don't grab the top card of the deck. What I like to do is I overhand shuffle, and sometimes I'll get a card sticking out, like right here. I see this card sticking out, I see this card sticking out, and I'll grab those cards. Or when I'm shuffling, I feel like, oh, this last card, this bottom card is really sticking to my fingers, and I'll pull out that card. Why am I pulling out all the same cards? So I really go by my intuition and feel like, oh, I feel like this card is sticking to my finger, this card is sticking out and is catching my eye. And the only reason I'm pulling out these cards is because I'm thinking about my question, and while thinking about my question that I'm asking the tarot, that is when a card sticks to my fingers and I feel like, oh, that makes sense to pull. If I'm not thinking about a topic, if I'm just shuffling to shuffle to prepare myself for the reading and I'm not asking a question yet, I feel like it doesn't really make sense to grab a card yet, because what answer is that card gonna have if I didn't ask a question? We're gonna go top down for the next one. And this is also a really fun way to draw the cards. I feel like this does well on video, or maybe if you do a tarot gig and you lay out all of the cards. Of course, you've shuffled first and you think about your question and you're like, okay, I am asking a message for the day, and you look at what card is drawing your eye. So for me, this card is drawing my eye, or you can go through them like this and feel like, oh, this one is sticking to my finger, so I am gonna pull that one. And you're like, oh, this one is sticking out back here, so I'm gonna grab that one. And there you have your 3 cards drawn as well. As you can see, there is no one right way to shuffle and draw your cards, which honestly makes it a little daunting as a beginner, which I totally understand. But it also makes it fun because it's completely personal, and don't let anyone tell you that you're pulling your cards or shuffling your cards wrong, because they're just gatekeeping and they're just thinking that they know it better. And I don't really stand for that. Like I said, these are not the only ways to shuffle and draw your cards. I would love it if you could let me know in the comments down below how you shuffle and draw your cards, so we can collectively help each other out. Now that you know how to shuffle and draw your cards, you might want to know how to actually interpret your cards. Watch the video on the screen right now. Subscribe if you want to see more tarot chats and deck reviews. But for now, thank you so much for watching. Hope to see you next time. Bye!